It is centuries away, and perhaps even longer. You are centuries away from having the technology to meet your visitors face to face on equal terms. In learning about the mental environment, you begin to discern the mental environment of your own personal life and the forces that are prevalent there. You begin to understand the dynamics of relationships and how people influence each other. You begin to take responsibility for who and what is influencing you and to arrange them accordingly. You begin to see the negative effects of inappropriate persuasion and the positive effects of helpful persuasion. You begin to realize that there are no neutral relationships, that everyone is either strengthening you or weakening you to some degree. This is primarily important in terms of your primary relationships. Here you begin to break new ground in learning the real mysteries of life. Here you gain strength and capability. Here you replace fear with skill. Here you replace judgment with compassion. If you learn about the greater mental environment, and this is governed by knowledge and wisdom, then the result will be very different from what your visitors can demonstrate. But people are superstitious. They do not distinguish the mental from the spiritual environment. They cannot differentiate between the different realities of which they are themselves a part. They cannot distinguish between subtle forms of manipulation and spiritual acknowledgements and empowerment. They cannot distinguish between these things until the results can be proven, and by then it is too late. Again, if there were no greater community in the world, it would still be your primary education if you seek to become wise and compassionate, if you seek to become whole and complete within yourself. But the presence of the greater community makes the situation far more demanding and makes the requirement for education far greater. In this, it has a saving grace. There are many people in the world already who have been contacted by the greater community forces, where they may attempt to exert influence upon the political and religious institutions that govern the society. They nonetheless are seeking to gain influence amongst people everywhere through direct contact. This is so behind the scenes, and people are so preoccupied, they cannot see this happening, but it can be felt. You have had experiences of discomfort and unrest that perhaps you attributed to your immediate circumstances or to your own emotional states, but which in reality were the result of you experiencing something in the mental environment that was either directed towards you or directed towards something near you. You can feel the presence of the greater community. They are very good at concealing themselves, but you can feel their presence. And beyond this, you can learn to know who they are and why they are here, for this can be known at the level of knowledge. To prepare humanity for the greater community, a great teaching is being brought. Its source is the Creator, and it is supported by your allies throughout the greater community who support the emergence of knowledge everywhere and who seek to keep knowledge alive in the universe. This is called the greater community way of knowledge. It represents a tradition of learning and transmission that is older than humanity itself. It is being given to humanity to prepare humanity, to unite its world, to rescue its environment, to elevate its consciousness and abilities, and to prepare for its new life in the greater community. It is unlike any other teaching in the world. It represents the wisdom of the ages that human traditions have kept alive, but beyond this, it represents wisdom of the greater community, which has never been learned in the world before. The great need of humanity has brought a great response from the Creator. It has brought a great promise, a great opportunity, a great need. Only a teaching from beyond the world could prepare you to engage with life from beyond the world and to enter an arena that goes beyond the former limits of your isolated state. This is not something that you can ask someone else to do something about. It is your responsibility. It is the responsibility of each person. It is the responsibility of those especially who can feel and who can know the great need and calling of the time, and who can respond to the education in the way of knowledge that is required. They can rise above their fears and their desires and their preferences to take action and thus gain the great benefit of living a life according to truth and to purpose. And they will learn for those who cannot learn, and they will contribute to the world where others have not been able to contribute. This is the work of knowledge. This is the work of the divine within you. This is what divinity means within the greater community. When you take away culture, tradition, and all the edifices of religion to the very essence of what spirituality really is, when you take all of it away, what you have is knowledge, the driving spiritual intelligence and force that oversees the universe and that gives beings everywhere promise and true capability. Yet, just as in your world, knowledge is being thwarted and denied throughout the greater community. And just like in your world, real wisdom, real skill, and the great healing powers are there and unique. So while we prepare for something so beyond the current limits of human understanding, we must also return to the very essence of who people are and what they have brought with them into the world from their ancient home. Thus, what is great within you responds to what is great within the world. If you only respond to what is small in the world, you will only know what is small within yourself. But if you can respond to what is great within the world, you will find what is great within yourself. This is because your inner and outer reality are directly related. Knowledge within you has come to the world to give. It is directly connected to the evolution of the world. It is not governed by human desire, human fear, or human wishes. It is not governed by these things in any culture or race in the greater community. It has its own focus and purpose. If you are afraid of this, you are but afraid of your true self and afraid of the greater power and the greater life that has brought you here. What could be more important than this? This is the source of all selfless activity. This is the source of all contribution and creation in the world. What could be more important than this? The times in which you live call for this now, more powerfully than ever before. The greater community is in the world. It is exerting its influence in the mental environment. It is demonstrating its skill among a great population of human beings who do not have this skill and cannot respond with wisdom. To find your way, you must find the forces that support you and the forces that hinder you, many of which are felt but that are unseen. You must learn to become responsible, not only in the physical environment in the world of people, places and things, but you must become responsible and competent in the mental environment, which is the realm of thought and influence. This will give you strength and integrity as a person and will enable you to harmonize and balance your life by balancing the influences that affect you directly. And this will, over time, teach you how you can positively influence others so that they too may become men and women of knowledge. Please join me now in a 30-minute stillness practice. Take whatever time you need to read your own step and enter stillness when you are ready. Nasina Varikaram. While we are in this place of stillness, I'd like to share a passage from the New Message, speaking about the messenger from the book, The New Messenger, Chapter 2, The Origin of the Messenger, as revealed to Marshall V. N. Summers on August the 1st, 2012, in Boulder, Colorado. The messenger does not bring peace. He brings challenge. He brings opportunity. He brings restoration. He brings work. He brings true relationship. He brings the divine will and purpose into the world. He brings the revelation that can save humanity from collapse, from within the world, and from the risk of subjugation from beyond the world. He brings things that are so great that people have never even thought of them before. He speaks to the needs of the future as well as the present. He speaks to the needs of the people a century from now who are facing a world catastrophically changed. He speaks to those who will have to face the greater community of life in the future, and even those who are experiencing contact at this moment. He brings the solution to 1,000 questions and problems beyond what people know of today. What will secure and create human freedom and sovereignty in the universe, where freedom is rare, where everything will be done short of invasion to take advantage of a weak and unsuspecting humanity. People know nothing of this. People know nothing of the real hazards facing the world today. They are living in their own little dream, preoccupied with their needs and problems. They have no idea what is going to threaten human civilization, both from within and from without. But the revelation brings this awareness. For only God can reveal what life is like in the universe, and this is part of the revelation. Only God can reveal what is coming over the horizon for humanity, and this is revealed in the revelation. Only God can speak to the deeper needs of the heart and the soul, and this is the center of the revelation. From the needs of the whole world, both now and in the future, to the fundamental and core needs of you, the individual, at this moment, the revelation speaks of all these things, for they are all connected, you see. The messenger speaks of living a greater life in service to a world in need. Surely, this need is growing with each passing day and will escalate beyond what people estimate today. That is why anyone who can respond to the messenger must respond truly, and time is of the essence, for he is an older man, and his presence in the world is of critical importance for the future of humanity. For he carries the message within him like a fire. It burns, but it warms the soul and illuminates the landscape. The fire of knowledge within the messenger is unlike any fire in the world. It is so powerful, even he can barely stand it for long periods of time. Your relationship with him is important. You do not yet realize its importance, but he must be seen correctly. He must be seen from the soul and the heart. He must be heard, and the nature of revelation must be understood sufficiently so that you can understand the great opportunity this is giving to you and to the world. For it will be centuries before another messenger is sent. This is it. This is the one. This is the real message for the world for this time and the times to come. Fail to respond here, and the consequences will be great for your life and for the world. You will not find your destiny. You will not find your calling. You will be lost at sea with everyone else, groping, searching, suffering. Knowledge within you will be alive, but you may never find a way to connect with it. And your grievance against the world will grow as the world diminishes. And your grief and your anguish will increase as human suffering around you increases. And you will feel helpless and hopeless regarding your position in the universe, for you have not found the power of knowledge yet to redeem you. This is the consequence of living at a time of revelation. It is not just a matter of choosing this over that. It is not one teaching versus another teaching. It is the crucial thing that will make all the difference. Success and failure here are utterly consequential for the individual, for you. So, into this compromised environment, God has spoken again and sent a messenger into the world, sent from the angelic presence and host to deliver a new reality, to shake people out of their complacency, to call people out of the shadows of their past, to bring clarity and resolution where there is only opinion and speculation, to take people beyond belief and their intellectual understanding to a greater reality of recognition and redemption. If you can understand the origin of the messenger, you will begin to understand your origin and what has called you into the world, which is an entirely different way of looking at your life, your present life, your past life, and your future, and indeed, a remarkable way of looking at the world. For there will be no condemnation here, only recognition and determination and great compassion for humanity as it struggles to find its real strength at a time of revelation. Let us spend a few moments together to be with Marshall and send him our love and strength and gratitude for all that he has done and is still doing for us and now see if there are others in the world or in your life who need to receive this strength as well. If so, spend a moment sending strength or another quality to these individuals. Nasina Varkaram. Thank you all for coming.